This episode, well, was also a good measure, but also in the end it left you very emotional. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching this song, and I'll give my latest review of Naruto Shippuden, episode 381. The Divine Tree, or I prefer to call it God Tree. Well, that's Matt. Starts off with what happened. They now know the weakness that the Jubi is vulnerable to Sage Jutsu. So Sage Jutsu is essentially the same as nature energy, which is the same as the Jubi. So basically, nature could counteract nature. So that's a matter of opinion. But you also got to give credit they're doing. I give this a lot of credit, and also a lot of measure. What do you think? You gotta start with, because Naruto, he wants to go in, especially, but we all know how Naruto can be, especially when it comes to his always going headfirst. That actually he tried to go in headfirst, but he forgot that how his normal attacks won't work. He needs Sage Jutsu. And that seems apparent by by this episode. And then Naruto, he may not be the sharpest tool in the bar shed, but he has it. Yes, and it was Kurama that gave him the advice. You can use Sage Jutsu while still in Tail Beast mode. Since he did it with Pain, he harnessed a small bit of Kurama's chakra. When he did it with Pain, when he was fighting Pain, remember, his eyes turned red. He had both the QB eyes, but at the same time the Sage Jutsu, the eyes and lines of the Sage, their chakra mixed. You should have done that a long time ago. But one of the reasons why he didn't progress is because when he was trying to learn the amphibian jutsu by having the Tousei Load Fukusaku on his shoulder, he was a bit angry that Naruto would rely on Sage Jutsu rather than the QB's power. So basically, Kurama was pissed. And you get teasing in this episode. I got like the comic humor, but you get the point. But you get the point. We get the point. And now that he's in mode, he and Minato, they work together. He tried to crack Obito, trying to do his best, but we all know, even though Obito may be vulnerable, he knows that he's vulnerable now. He's trying to do their best to counteract their efforts. He literally withstands their best attack, to the point where he has to rush right away into summoning the Jubi and using its final form. And that final form is the Divine Tree, or it was learned in the manga, the God Tree. There's nothing you need to learn about the Divine Tree. You see, the Divine Tree, he was back then an ancient figure of nature that existed well before man developed chakra. In fact, it was the only one to develop chakra. And then it bared fruit, a special kind of forbidden fruit that only blossomed once every millennium. But then a certain princess stole this fruit, ate it, and gained the power of a god, and basically used it end the war, and basically become a ruler. He became ruler and feared. At the same time, she had a son. This son's name was Homura, and he was the Sage of Six Paths. So basically, the Sage of Six Paths' mother basically stole chakra from the tree. As a result, the tree counteracted that by trying to take it back, and was created the Jubi. In other words, the Jubi is basically a god tree, basically pissed off that someone stole their stuff up and is going on a war path. In fact, at this episode, when the Jubi came out and transformed, it stole chakra from practically almost everybody. The Shinobi Islands were basically having their chakra sucked dry and their bodies shriveled up. Remember, if your chakra runs out to zero, you're dying. But these people, their chakra is literally shriveled up, they became like what you call living zombies until they died. Like having their eyes. It was literally heartrending. Having the life sucked out of them, it was pretty nasty. And then Madara knows this. He explains to Hashirama this. Apparently it was written on the stone Uchiha tablet. Those who read the manga, you know this already. Those you haven't. So, that's perspective for you. We all know what's coming next. And now that Obito's unleashed the power of the tree, he's going to use the tree to cast the infinite Tsukuyomi upon. So when the flower opens and the Jubi's eye reflects off the surface of the moon, then the infinite Tsukuyomi will finally begin. And that's very, very heart rendering, because now they led to this. They're in a position they can't possibly ignore. Now that they're in this position, they have to do the best they can to try to stop this the best they can. Knowing that they're going to go through this, it's going to be very, very hard for them now to stop it. I mean, seriously, you can't. Seriously, now that Obito's pulling all the stops now, I mean, he practically has the power of the god with the Jubi's power and summoning the God's tree. He now has the power to do everything he wants, and he's making. And Naruto, he had his chakra sucked by the tree. Seeing all those people dead, he feels very, very down upon himself. Oh, he looked like he was about to die till he was saved by the third Hokage. You know, he was. But this episode right now is. Oh, it's like what you call a balance. You know what that scale? You know what a scale is, right? So one side tips to one side, the other side tips to the other. You know, like a scale. It started like in the beginning, it skipped to Naruto, but then it went back to Obito. This was like setting up, like the scale was sitting between one side to the other. And this is straight up canon. This is straight up from the manga. Now, no filler, and straight from the manga. And this is very. And I still like the opening, the new opening, the new ending. It is very nice for the show. Very nice. I mean, especially now that now that we're past 600 episodes of Naruto. Like I said in my last review of Naruto, the 600 episodes, counting Naruto, so the original, the first 220, along with the filler, and Shippuden up to now, 601 episodes. Nice. That's nice. Not a lot of animes can really reach that high note. The only one probably more that is One Piece and. The only one with more is One Piece and Detective Conan, but give credit where credit is due, and I give this credit. Hope you enjoyed this watching this analysis of Naruto Shippuden, episode 381, the Divine Tree. I still like it. I still like God Tree. It's better, and it is a god technically. Okay. Oh, and FYI, if you haven't read my Naruto video, Naruto is ending in 5 weeks. Kishimoto's promised, and he's delivering. He's going to end the series. The manga, but the anime was to continue up until they get to the source material, till the manga is out. And there's still Naruto, the last movie 8, and we still need to know what the hell that's all about. After all, that's like more into the future, how Naruto is more mature. Like a year after that, he's like 18, I think. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. Bye.